All right, so we'll start with medical. Limited for today, Alvin with an ankle, Devin Neal with an ankle, Rashid with a hip, Alante with a shoulder, and then full practice, Jawan with a neck, and Chris with an ankle, Olave. So those are the medical aspect of practice. And then roster-wise, Evan Hull, we signed on practice squad at running back, and then Kosai is our D-line we released from practice squad. So those were the roster moves there. And then obviously yesterday, talked to both quarterbacks, talked through the sequence here. We're going to start Tyler. Really excited about this opportunity for him. He's been preparing each and every week, just as he would be if he was the starter, and so I feel like he's ready to go. It'll be a lot of exciting opportunities for him. Obviously, it'll be his first experience starting and going through that full process, and obviously there's an element with that you got to kind of navigate as you go. But we're really excited about that. Spencer's done some really good things, and I think if anything, Spencer's proven that he can win games in this league. He can play at a really high level. He's done a lot of good things, and so this will be an exciting time for Tyler. But Spencer's will always be ready, and he'll continue to grow as well. These are two young quarterbacks that we feel really good about.
Why did you decide on Tyler?
Yeah, just felt like there was an opportunity where Tyler I felt like was ready. Felt like at the end of the day, one of the more important aspects of this from a wider lens perspective is offensively we got to find a little bit more success, a little bit more consistency. I think that doesn't have only to do with Spencer. That has to do with everyone associated with the offense, and so we're continuing to build that and grow each and every week. And I think Tyler's ready to go. He's prepared really, really well through this whole process. Patience sometimes is you got to play that game a little bit, and he's ready to go.
You mentioned the desire to not flip-flop. Is the intent here for Tyler to start the rest of the season, or is it still a week-to-week situation?
No, Tyler's starting, so we're not looking back on that. Obviously, the goal is to let Tyler play and get going, and Spencer knows that his role is to be the backup, and he's there to help Tyler in any possible way. He did an excellent job today, running the scout team, preparing just like he would be just a starter like any other week, and so I feel like that room, the good thing we got going is that room is a bunch of A-plus people, and they handle it awesome.
So this decision was relayed to them individually and then to the team, like a team meeting?
Yeah, we just talked to those guys yesterday. Obviously, it gets out at times, anytime you make a decision like that, and so, team-wise, we had a team meeting, and we're ready to roll.
What did you see, throughout these last couple of months or weeks or even days that made you think, all right, that Tyler is ready for this? What specifically on the field of practice or whatever really impressed you about and made you kind of give it the green light?
There's always little components that you're growing each and every player, whether you're playing or not playing, you have objectives each week that you're trying to hit. And so I felt like he's taken the steps in the different areas that he certainly felt like he can continue to grow in. He prepared each and every week as though he'd potentially be the starter. I thought he went through that operation really well. Thought he handled the challenging situation on Sunday, just hopping in there with very limited reps. He did a nice job there and gave us a chance. Ultimately, we weren't able to get it done, but that's a collective thing more than him. And then, excited for him.
What impressed you the most throughout his development process with your plan of doing so?
Yeah, I think just the work that he put into it. I think taking advantage of, when you're a scout team quarterback, you're growing each and every play, and treat the play like it's our offense and recreate it. Put yourself in that situation. I thought it allowed him to test himself, test his boundaries, test his pocket maneuvering, and continue to develop as a leader. Running the scout team for the last few weeks.
Given that he hasn't started an NFL game before, what do you do differently from a play calling standpoint? Do you have a little bit of different mindset for him?
We'll talk through it as the week progresses. Obviously, I think an important aspect of this thing is our communication as the week progresses, things he's comfortable with, as we build this plan and get to the end goal of Sunday. And so, it'll be an ongoing process. The biggest thing is just us getting together and getting aligned with, objectively what we want to do.
How much of it is like Tyler forced the issue with what he was showing versus like the offense just kind of needing to find a little bit more?
Yeah, I think you can say yes to both of those. I think Tyler's progressed really well. He's done some really good things. Obviously, a lot of stuff that's behind the scenes that we get to see each and every day. And offensively, obviously, our objective is to score more points. We got to find a way. It starts with me, just giving us that opportunity and putting a plan together. And so, I'm excited with where we can go with this.
Kellen, what are your expectations for him Sunday?
Yeah, I think Tyler just operated at a really high level, take full command of the offense, communicate, operate, and obviously protect the football and give us a chance to go win this thing.
How about for the rest of the season too? Like, are there benchmarks or things you want to see as he develops over the course of the year?
every season's going to take its own path. Obviously, he's going to come out of this game and he's going to have some things that he wants to focus on. He's going to have to grow in. He's going to have some things he feels really good about. And so that's going to occur each and every week. And I think the biggest thing is growth. Biggest thing is you're going to make a mistake or two. You get to grow from those. You don't make the same mistakes. Tyler's going to be on that journey here, and I think he's going to handle it really well.
When the season started, was there like a timeline or something that said we definitely need to see Tyler play this many games?
No, not necessarily. We haven't reached our goal of victories as the season's progressed, and so from a team perspective, we're trying to find the best way to be successful. Tyler's continued to develop. I think Spencer's done plenty of good things through this whole process, and so we got to protect the football and give ourselves a chance. But other than that, we'll keep going.
I know it's different for every quarterback. You were Dak and Justin Herbert who started right away, but I mean, is there a sweet spot for rookie quarterback development? Is this like a good time to introduce someone, you think, if you could make a plan?
There's plenty of good examples of guys who've waited towards this time of year. There's a lot of examples. I think the patience game, obviously, I think usually lends their hand positively towards these quarterbacks. The more they get to, experience things from behind the scenes, continue to grow, develop, and then when they're ready to go, they go. I think Tyler's in a spot where he's been able to sit there and process for a little while, grow individually, and I feel like he's going to go out there and play well, and he'll have to go through some experiences for the first time on the field in an NFL game. We get that, but he's done a really nice job.
Is there any advantage to like him getting his first shot like big games as opposed to like having a full week to
I think sometimes, it's a sudden change type moment. It's just go out there and execute and trust your training. I thought he responded well in that situation. Again, not being with that group a whole lot in practice for a number of weeks, he was able to still give us a chance. He was able to execute. This week with a full week, I think that'll be good. I think there's plenty of quarterbacks that go through these different paths where you kind of get put out there in a situation, you respond, and then obviously potentially some more stuff comes moving forward.
You mentioned not being where you all want to be right now, victory-wise in the season. Just what is it about Tyler Shough's skill set, what you've seen from him behind the scenes that maybe gives you a chance to share?
Yeah, I thought he executes at a really high level. He, I think, has great command, feel for the game as far as a vision standpoint. He can anticipate things really, really well. Obviously, a lot of stuff we saw on his film going back to college, and so we feel like he'll go out there and execute really well.
We've heard you mention on Monday that like one of the things you saw him run was just like this pocket feel.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a benefit when you're running that scout team and you're not going up against, I guess, like carded looks situations that just kind of like playing free and learning that?
I think it's one of the best things that comes out of being a scout team quarterback is the pockets aren't going to be ideal. You're playing against your starting defense, and the goal in practice is to make the blitzes and everything look good. And so you're going to be in some challenging, compromised situations. You're going to have to force yourself to adapt and hang in there and still deliver a throw. And so there's plenty of good that comes out of that you get to test yourself and put yourself in those situations. Ideally, you want to sit in perfect pockets, and those will come with time and situations. But when you have those hard situations, how can I handle them well?
How do you know if Tyler is ultimately the answer quarterback?
I don't know. I mean, I'm focused on this week right now. I'm excited for him. I think he's going to handle this thing really, really well. This is a journey for both quarterbacks. They've gone through this journey and navigated some challenging situations. I think they're responding the right way. It's about growth each and every week, getting better, and putting ourselves in the best position to be successful.
Are there things that you look for like in a franchise quarterback?
We're always navigating that. I think at the end of the day, it's about putting your team in the best position to be successful. How you do that from a quarterback perspective, you lead really, really well. You have great command of the offense. You protect the football. You make plays, when you have to. There's hard downs in this league, and the guys that make plays on those hard downs, that becomes a big-time factor.
I'm sorry, just to ask this one more time. I apologize. If things go well, you expect Tyler to start the rest of the season and not to be going back to Spencer, right?
Yeah, we're not doing this back and forth thing. I think certainly that's the goal. I think just the same way we talked about when Spencer went in there, we weren't going to get into this whole debate each and every week. Tyler's in there, he's ready to go. That's the whole objective and plan of this thing is let Tyler go and let him have a ton of success and navigate the things he has to navigate.
How would you describe before as a backup quarterback who then is put into a starting role? Like what changes for a player on that? Like obviously there's more that goes into the week itself, but also like the teammates looking to you and all that.
Yeah, I think the interpersonal dynamic's obviously different. You're spending a lot of time with that starting group. You got to create some cohesiveness there. The leadership, the communication part of this is so critical because ultimately you're leading that group on the field. And then off the field, obviously there's different obligations, things that you have to do from a leadership standpoint, from a media perspective, a preparation standpoint. Tyler and I's communication as the week goes on as we're building this thing. And so all things he's capable of, he's shown throughout this whole process. He'll do just fine with all that.
Gets Tyler's development potentially affect what you guys want to do at the trade deadline and say, we should just use him right now, like, how do you guys manage that as a?
Yeah, I don't think you worry about it one bit. We have an awesome group of guys. We haven't won enough games, but the way this group practices still, the energy that it brings, Wednesday's practice, for you to walk in there and see how our guys are still practicing each and every day, each and every week, it's a really awesome group. And so we're going to do everything we can to be successful each and every Sunday. There's a business side of this thing, obviously, that gets caught. Everyone gets caught into, but there's a part that we're focused on, and that's all we worry about.
How would you describe your approach to the trade deadline?
Yeah, same thing. I'm not going to get caught up into it. Obviously, if there's business discussions that come up, but we're just preparing each and every week, getting ready to play, getting ready to rock and roll. Mickey and, all those guys do an awesome job from a, personnel side of this thing, continue to, build our roster and make the adjustments they need to make. But, we're focused on Sunday right now.
You haven't had any of those conversations yet?
We'll have occasional conversations here and there, and, if anything pops up, but, our job's to get ready to play on Sunday. I mean, that's the other part of this thing.
What stands out about Brent's pass rush?
Played these guys a couple times last year when we were in Philly. Once the regular season, once in the playoffs, and this is as good of a defensive line as you're going to see in this league, and they're really young. And so they got tons of energy, tons of juice. They make impact plays. They can do it from a variety of different ways, and they're playing as well as anyone in this league.
Did you see your offensive line grow from joint practice, just facing those guys?
I thought it was an awesome opportunity for our offensive line to experience those guys, to navigate some of those challenging matchups that you inevitably will face with these guys. I thought our guys responded really well. I thought it was excellent work.
The Rams rank around 13th or 14th in yards allowed. The points allowed per game is third, fewest, I think. What do you see that they're doing well in that area?
Yeah, I think as the week progresses and you're building out your plan, recognize, okay, now you get to some of these hard downs, third downs, they're really, really good. Red zone, they've done some really good things. They're a really smart football team, so situationally they handle situational football really well, and they're creating turnovers, and so maybe some people have created some yards in some games. They're playing all the hard downs really, really well.
In the last couple of years, we've kind of said not to buy too much stock in the joint practices, but does it mean anything at all that, at least in some capacity, Tyler has seen this defense and he's played in so far in the preseason? Like, does that matter at all?
That's a good question. I think having familiarity with your surroundings never hurts. Spending a little bit of time. Hey, you've been around these guys. You've been in that stadium. Certainly I can't see that as a negative. That's certainly a positive. What you can take away from a joint practice from August, probably fairly minimal just because of what both teams are asking their teams to do. It's fairly, introductory systems and all that sort of stuff. But, I thought it was excellent work, and I think it allowed our guys to prepare themselves for the season.
Is it kind of wild to you that you were teammates with the quarterback that you're facing this week?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah, obviously spent a couple years with Matthew in Detroit. It's really remarkable what the type of quarterback that he's been for such a long time. And he's one of the premier quarterbacks in our league. You don't want to give him the ball too many times in some, opportunistic situations. He's going to deliver, and he's delivered year after year, and he's still playing at as high of a level as anyone in this league.
And what have you all liked from Stallberg to kind of put him in some of those rush situations?
Yeah, I think just a really smart football player, able to kind of handle some of those situations. He's got obviously tremendous athletic ability, in those situations. Sometimes these quarterbacks can all scramble on third down. There's a critical component of that. They can all move when the play breaks down and it becomes off schedule. I think it's important that you have guys who can pursue the quarterback. And so he's earned those opportunities. He's done a nice job. I thought it's been a positive role for him.
It's kind of midway point of the season. How do you feel like Trevor Penning's regard is gone? Like, where can he still maybe develop a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's been plenty of good with Trevor's. Allows him to play with the physicality. I think he's continued to get better each and every week. I think the big thing is just the consistency, and a couple of the penalties that showed up in this past game is something for us just to continue to grow with, because there's a lot of good in there, but we got to clean up those penalties, which he knows, and he's going to do everything he can to solve those.
Just in regards, trying to figure out the timing of when to have a rookie make his first NFL start, does the quality of the defense you're playing not figure into that at all? Or
You have plenty of discussions. Obviously, if you were following that trend line, this probably wouldn't be the week. These guys are playing really good football. But you know what? I think Tyler did an awesome job through his whole preparation, and I think this is a great opportunity for our team as a whole. And so these guys are playing really good football. They're playing really good football. I'm excited about this opportunity for our team to go out there and play in Los Angeles, play complimentary football, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Does that idea kind of get maybe overblown sometimes? The Giants started dart against the Chargers, and that's another team that.
Yeah, Chargers are a really good team. They've won a lot of games, and they're one of the best defenses. So it's the NFL. There's no soft landing for anyone in this league. Every game's a battle. Every team has challenges. Every team's got really talented players, and so to think you're going to create some, this isn't, the beginning of some college football seasons where you maybe play some different opponents. This is the NFL, and every team's really, really good.
Is there any kind of inherent advantage in just not having a mistake on Tyler?
It's always a good question. I think, there's some unfamiliarity with the player, just how stylistically you may play or what he may have preference of as far as, plays that he might want to execute that are different than maybe a different quarterback. And so there's always a little bit of element unknown.
You talked about the desire for, from your side, play calling, doing things differently, and improving, I think is one of the words that you've used. But with Tyler, are there naturally things that you're able to do differently with a different quarterback?
I think there's always going to be different preferences, and as the week progresses and you talk through the game plan and you start talking about, hey, what are our favorites, what are the ones that we want to attack, or how's he seeing the defense, it's going to be a little bit of a different flavor. It's natural. There's going to be things that feel a little bit different potentially, and that'll evolve week in and week out as we continue to progress.
And with so many things that are, for lack of a better phrase, option-based, like RPOs and things like that, do you see a difference in the decision-making between the two quarterbacks? Not better or worse, but just different approaches to it.
I think that's a good question. I think both guys have, from their background in college, I think both of them have had a lot of exposure to it. So I don't think it's something that is one guy or the other. I think both those guys have a good decision-making process. As the games navigate, I think we'll naturally see their trend line, maybe shift one way or the other. Once you kind of get into live action, you kind of allow them to react to those things, whether they run it or throw it, or the decision-making factor of that. But both guys, I think, have handled all that stuff really well.
On that intersection with Tyler and Chris,
Yeah.
what's the coaching point, correction point on how that played out?
Yeah, I think for both sides, you get to say, okay, what can I do in my capacity and my role? Location of the football, okay. Tyler can obviously focus on that part for himself, and then for Chris, obviously it's the catch, tuck, get it away from the defender. The defender made a phenomenal play on the ball, but a lesson for both sides.
Just in terms of ball security, obviously it's something you talk about every week, but after a game like that, all the balls on the ground, that has to be.
Yeah, it's a big part of this week. Obviously, it's become a trend because it's 2 weeks, and so anytime something becomes a trend, obviously now we got to do everything we can. We got to attack that, because obviously it's going to become a discussion point and theme for our opponents. Is that you can get the ball if you keep attacking it with these guys, and so we got to do an excellent job of protecting it.
Kellen, when you think back to maybe what Tyler's maybe going through this week, as he's making, he's probably worked for this a long time, this opportunity in your own career, and maybe is there any special message, because you played the position, you know what he's going through, that you would relay to him this week, or you already did when you were talking to him?
Yeah, I think it's a healthy ongoing week discussion. I think it's the first time you kind of got to navigate some of this. Now, these guys in college football nowadays, they deal with a lot more media probably than I used to deal with when I was playing in college. So they're more accustomed to all the stuff that maybe isn't all the on-field aspects of it. So he'll do an excellent job with all that. And I think he's what I respect is he's done a really good job of preparing like he's a starter each and every week. And again, it's one game, it's one opportunity, it's the first one for him. You don't have to make it any bigger than it is, and so I think he's going to do a really good job.
Is the impact that Chase has had kind of the one year vision, when you talk about training camp and being able to re-sign them?
Yeah, Chase done a really nice job. He's made some impact plays the last few weeks, which has been great.